Hello, in this video I'm going to share with you on how to use 3D Studio Max's batch render function. 3D Studio Max's batch render function is a powerful tool that allows users to queue multiple rendering jobs to be processed sequentially without manual intervention. This feature is particularly useful in managing and optimizing rendering workflows for complex scenes or projects that require multiple shots or different camera angles. Key features of the batch render. Job queuing. Users can add multiple scenes or camera views to a queue, specifying different settings for each job, such as resolution, frame range, and output format. Automated processing. Once the batch is set up, 3D Studio Max will automatically process each job in sequence, freeing up users from having to start each render manually. Efficiency. Batch rendering allows for efficient use of resources, especially in a networked environment where multiple machines can be leveraged to process different jobs concurrently. Consistency ensures consistent rendering settings across multiple jobs, reducing the chance of errors or discrepancies that might occur if settings were manually adjusted for each render. Flexibility. Users can schedule renders to run off-peak hours, maximizing the use of available hardware and minimizing downtime. Advantages of batch render. Time saving. By automating the rendering process, users can save significant time, allowing them to focus on other aspects of their project. Improved workflow. Batch rendering streamlines the workflow, making it easier to manage large projects with multiple rendering requirements. Resource optimization efficiently utilizes available hardware on whether a single machine or across a network to ensure faster completion of rendering tasks. Reduced manual intervention minimizes the need for user intervention, reducing the risk of human error and ensuring more reliable outputs. Scalability, ideal for large-scale productions where numerous shots or sequences need to be rendered, making it easier to manage and deliver complex projects on time. Overall, the batch render function in 3D Studio Max is an essential tool for professionals who need to handle large or complex rendering tasks efficiently, providing both flexibility and control over the rendering process. So for a start, we are going to open up this file here for this part 6 in-class exercise for batch render.max file. Okay, this is the max file. So once we open up, we're not going to change the project settings, so we're not going to change this and continue. Alright, and from here we're just going to click continue then as necessary. So inside here already we should be able to see that using the scene explorer, let me just get this one docked to the left, we should be able to see that the cameras from cameras 1 to 5 and then inclusive of this one, human walking and target, so these cameras should already been set up properly, okay, in this particular file here. So let me just deselect the rest and just isolate to what we need to see, just cameras alone. So we should be able to see that there are 6 cameras here already preset. Okay, so we are assuming that we have already done all necessary camera setup and scene setups and material settings and lighting already done. Alright, so if I were to move the time bar here, okay, let me just change it to a user view and then set this up so that you can see this. So let me just maximize this. So when we take a look at this, so when I do a play preview, we should now be able to see all the cameras are moving, so we know that the scene has already been set up properly with all the 6 cameras in place. Alright, and then next I'm just going to change this one to another camera, just a human walking camera, for example, right, like that, huh? Okay, and then subsequently next we are going to go to rendering and then go to render setup, just to make sure we are now going to set it to an active time segment instead of a still frame. Alright, so we're going to set this one to an active time segment here. Alright, the active time segment by default is 0 to 100, so we're going to leave it at this for now, and make sure our video output size is HDTV, okay, with the pixel count of 1920 by 1080, this way. Alright, so we're going to set it in like this for now, and then we will close this dialog box, and then next we are then going to go to rendering and then go to batch render, and we are going to begin to set up the various cameras now. Okay, so we are going to begin by clicking on add to set up the 6 cameras here. So we can do it one by one, which I personally find it to be quite inefficient, since we know we are going to have 6 cameras. So what we'll do is we'll just keep adding all the 6 cameras there all at once before I do the necessary tweaking later on, okay, subsequently. Alright, so now that we're done, I'm going to do one by one first, okay, and before we go any further though, okay, what I'm going to do is inside my target folder, right, where I'm going to save my rendering outputs, I'm going to set up these various folders first, okay, from one camera, cam 01 means camera 01, so from camera 01 to camera 06, and I think it will be good practice to put in the camera description, alright, so we know what kind of scene we are dealing with. Alright, so there's something like this, okay, and then I just want to eliminate the need to keep repetitively typing, so I'm just going to copy this and go back into 3D Studio Max again and click on View 1. So I'm just going to click on renaming it, okay, I'm just going to rename this, and next I'm going to go to the output path, and I'm going to look for the path here. Okay, this is where I save my I save the folder, or I set up the folder, so I'm going to just paste it here, and it will take me to the path straight away, the location where I want to save straight away, and I'm just going to click on cam01 path constraint, for example, and click open, okay, and then I'm going to save it here. So the file name, I will just rename it because it is cam01, so I will put it in as cam01 0000. So I'll put in 4 zeros this way, and then I'm going to, under all formats, save it as a JPEG file. Alright, so I'm going to just save it, and then I'm going to set it to the best quality here and click OK. Okay, there's one more thing I need to do though. I need to now select the camera again, the cam01. I have completed setting up the path. Okay, now I need to choose the correct camera. So I'm going to go down next here and choose cam01, camera 01, path constraint, this way. Alright, and next I will move on to the second one. Same thing, I will copy the description again. I will call this one cam02 rotate view. I will click on view 02, and then under this portion here I will then paste it so that the description is correct, and then under the output path I will click here, and again I will need to copy the location again, the path again. So I will click on this. This is where my folders are located, and then I will paste it in so I can see the cam02 rotate view. and then I will do the same. So again, I will rename this one as cam02 hyphen space with 4 zeros behind. 1 2 3 4. I am doing this so that later on, when the batch rendering process starts, okay, then you will see that the 3D Studio Max will automatically rename them as 001, 002, and so on. So it becomes a sequence of images and all. Okay, and then next I need to change it to JPEG format. Okay, JPEG image format, and then I will save it, and then I will click OK. Alright, so again, I have already prepared, in this case, I'm then completed the path, okay, where I'm going to save the output to. Next, again, I will need to move down and choose the correct camera, which is camera 02, this way. Alright, the rest we can just leave it default because we have already set it up. And I'm going to move on to cam number 3 again, cam 03. So again, I will copy this, and then I will paste it in the description name here and choose the path, and I will copy the path again, and under file name I will paste the path in first, press enter to locate the folder, which is cam03 panning, and then I will click open and then create the file name first, the first file name. So cam03 space hyphen space 0000, and then I will change it to JPEG, and then I will save it, and then make sure the quality is set to best and click OK. Alright, after this part of the work is done, I will move down to camera here and change it to camera 3, and then subsequently again I will move on to camera 4 and change it to, okay, I'll just copy the folder name and then I will paste it in here, and then look for the output path again. Alright, so again I'm going to copy this path here on the address bar and then paste it inside file name to take me there directly, and then I will change it to camera 4 zooming, and then I save it. Okay, I'm going to change this one to cam 04 space hyphen space 0000, and then I'm going to change the output image format to JPEG file and then save it. Okay, again set it to best quality and OK. Alright, and then next part would be I would need to change the camera to camera 4, camera 04 zooming. Alright, and then again the last two, so I'm going to work on camera 05 again. So I'm going to go back and copy this folder name, and then inside here, back in 3D Studio Max, paste it in, and then create the output path. So I need to point the output path properly again by clicking here and copying this path and pasting it and enter. So it will take me there directly without me having to click too much. And from here I will change it to camera 05 and open it. Double click to open this, and then finally I will then rename it again, cam 05 space hyphen space 0000, and then from here I will change it to JPEG file format and save. Alright, and before I finish this, I will click drop down list and then click on camera 05 interior rotate, this one. So if we are quite consistent about the management of our cameras and all, everything should look quite similar, except the numbers and the descriptions are a little bit different, and the path should be quite the same also. Alright, so we're going to move down to the final camera here, which is camera 06 human walking. Alright, so similarly I'm going to copy and paste the camera name description and then the output path next also. So I'll copy this output path and then paste it on the file name here, and then open up cam06. And before I finish this, I've got to rename them as cam06 space hyphen space 0000, and then finally the save as image format JPEG, and then save it and make sure it's the best quality and OK. Alright, then finally under the camera portion here, choose human walking, this one. Okay, so then in this case, there you go, we are done with the batch render cameras setup. So this is already done this way. Before we click render, I would strongly recommend that we do a save as first. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to do a save as, okay, and I'm going to call it, let's say, batch render completed. Okay, in this case, I'll just call it completed 02 and I'll save it. This is a very preventive measure, I would say, because many a times halfway through the batch rendering, accidents like power outages or computer hang and then hardware failure or software failures do happen, and we don't want to lose our file being saved and all. Okay, so we want to make sure we save the file already before we execute the final batch render function. Alright, so this is a one-step setup thing. So after we are done, we can close this. It really doesn't matter because we can keep we can always now, after we saved it already, we can always go back to rendering and then reopening up batch render again, and then you will notice that all the camera settings, all the settings will still remain there nicely. Okay, and then all we need to do now is though click on render. Okay, so once we click on the render button here, you will notice that the rendering engine will start to run, and then the renders will be almost as if it is flickering this way. Alright, let's take a look at the saved folder and see what is happening. Okay, so I'm going to go to the animation folder. You will now see that camera 1, let's go into camera 1 folder. Right, you will now see that there are many images being churned out one by one sequentially. I'm going to go back to the second one now, and then you notice that the cameras are being shown, okay, being rendered already, rendered and saved as it is. Alright, and then let's go to the third one and wait for a little while I change it to a list view. Okay, then you will now see that the cameras are being, okay, rendered, and then the image sequences are being produced. Alright, now bearing in mind though, this is a tutorial file, alright, with really nothing set up except for the animated cameras and the animated biped. So it really doesn't consist of any special physical mapping or material or lighting. Alright, so therefore you will find that the rendering is really quite fast. Okay, the rendering speed seems to be pretty fast in completing all these. See, right now we are almost done, and almost done with the last coming up to the last camera view already. But in reality, rendering the sequences, the camera sequences, do take a long time. Okay, they do take quite a long time to complete. So you see right now we are going on to the last camera already. We are proceeding to the final render of the final camera, which is camera 06. Alright, so we give it a few more seconds and you will find that the cameras have completed their renderings already. Okay, the 3D Studio Max have completed the rendering sequences. So again, the entire batch render is complete. So if we take a look at this right now and we go into properties, we should be able to see everything all in there already. So again, there should be, we are going to end up with having, alright, 101 item inside there. Alright, in each of these folders here, we should end up with 101 rendered images here. Alright, this is what we call the animated sequences here already. Alright, we should be able to see down here there are 101 items and all. Okay, so we know that the batch render is successful and all these animated image sequences have been created accordingly. Alright, this will then allow us to proceed to the next step of the processing now. Okay, which is the video post-processing, where we can now begin to edit the video by putting or be able to create a video sequence with all these views stringed together, and then we can begin to add music inside using video editing software like Adobe Premiere, for example. Alright, so stay tuned. Let's move on to the next instructional video. Alright, thank you.